Hello, welcome to the channel and thanks for joining me. Now, I've noticed that Target are currently promoting their Hydro range of darts as Dart of the Month at the moment, so I thought it'd be quite nice to go and revisit them myself. Now, I recently featured the Hydro darts on a channel review here, so do check the full video out, but suffice it to say in summary that I thought if you wanted a straight barrel 90% tungsten dart with an interchangeable point from a reputable brand, then you wouldn't go far wrong with the Hydro. The only problem was I had the Hydro 01s. Now, I don't live anywhere near a dart shop, so I bought them online unseen, and to be honest, if you go back and see the video that I made, my only criticism was that they were very aggressive at the rear where I hold them and a bit too aggressive for me, so I was kind of snatching and pulling the dart on occasion as well. Now, that's not a criticism of the dart itself, of course, it's just that the grip didn't suit me personally. However, I left them out on the side for a while, and for the days after I made the video I kept picking them up and having a throw, and I was finding I was getting more used to them, and I couldn't help but wonder what the other darts would be like in the range. Now, there are 3 different barrel styles in the Hydro range, so I went ahead and, having reviewed the 01s, I went and ordered the 02s and also the 03s, and the plan was to kind of do a review on each of them. But I thought, you know what, let's do something a bit different. So you may know that I recently attempted a mixed hand 180 with the Dimitri Bergh darts. So I used a Gen 1, a Gen 2 and a Dreammaker Echo dart, and had a mixed set in my hand and tried to throw a 180. So do check that video out to see how I got on. But following from that, I thought, I know, let's try something a bit different. I'm only a tiny channel here. Let's do something a bit interesting and a bit of fun. So rather than reviewing all the different darts, I'm going to try and see if I can score a 180 using a Hydro 01, 02 and 03 in my hand. Sounds like a bit of a fun challenge. So but just before we throw some darts, we'll take a super quick look at them just to see what we're up against, and we'll go from there. Right, let's go. So a very quick look at the darts then before we throw them. We've got the 01 and 03 in 24 grams, and we've got the 02 in 23. So I'll just move the boxes out of the way to show the darts, and essentially we've got different grip patterns, different areas of smooth, different depth of cut and aggressiveness of cut, so they're all very different to each other. So yeah, this will be interesting. Now, in terms of throwing today, I'm going to replace the stems and flights for no other reason than I shan't be throwing these very much. They're more for the collection now, to be honest, so I don't want to damage the original ones, so I'll replace those with something similar to what would have come with them originally in terms of the flight and stem. The points I'm going to keep. Now, this could be my real nemesis, to be honest. The points on these are a 26mm, I think, just a smooth, don't know if you'll see that on the camera, but they're just a smooth chrome point on there, very slippy, not very long, and my board is due for replacement imminently as well, so I'll be surprised if any of these can stay in the treble 20, let alone all 3 of them if I manage it. So that could be the sticking point, so to speak. So yeah, and by the way, on that is the Hydro darts themselves are basically a kind of a budget version. They're 90% tungsten. They're Swiss points. They use the tag stems, which are very similar though, really, ultimately to the Pro Evos, the Pro Grips, I should say, and they come with the actual 100 micron flights, so there's nothing cheap about them. It's just that they're not player endorsed or anything like that. But if you're buying darts that for a reason on a budget in that respect, you may not have the facility to want to change the points out straight away because they are comparatively expensive, and you might not be buying a cheaper set of darts if you've got the facility to buy lots of expensive points. So I'm keeping the standard points on there today and throwing the darts pretty much how they would come out of the packet, as I say, with the exception of replacing the flights and stems, just because I want to keep those for posterity in the collection. Right, there we go then, that's the darts. Let's see how we get on. So here we are, trying a mixed set 180 with the Hydros, and I've got some short number 6 K-Flex on at the moment here. The idea was just to differentiate the darts a little bit, and they weren't too bad, to be honest, but I did find that having a small flight on there made them more susceptible to a bit of variation. So I've changed them here for a number 2 K-Flex, and again, really going quite nicely, but somehow I just couldn't really hook them up the way I wanted to. I'm trying to get the control here with the grip, because obviously they're all 3 different grip levels, a couple of different weights. Then I tried the condor, and I've got some intermediate number 2 soft all-in-one condors here. Just sort of throwing the kitchen sink at it, so to speak, really, seeing if I can get any more consistent results and try and find a flight that would actually help to stabilise the barrels and kind of neutralise them to make them a bit more throwable as a set of mixed 3. And you can see actually we're almost there. It's getting really frustrating. I think I'm getting like hundreds. There's a 140 there. Then typically you'll get the odd random one where the grip has caught you out, and yet there you go with 2 trebles. And I think this was almost in, 1 in the treble 1 and then 2 right in the corner there. Just couldn't seem to get them all together at the same time in the same place, which is really frustrating. And there's a typical bounce out. So I had a bit of a breather for a minute, and there was actually a knock at the door during that time, and I thought, well, let's just take 5 minutes, have a coffee, and I thought I'll throw some AL style flights on there and have a go. And within 2 minutes this happened. Get in. 180. I'm going to try and take it off the stand. There we go, without pressing any side buttons, goose fingers. And there we have it, ladies and gents. I can't think now which one is which, but there's all 3 on there, and all the 3 different hydros. The funny thing is, I've been using condors, then I went to K-Flex for a bit more stability, and they were okay, but I kept clashing them, and I could feel the 180 was coming, but every time I was getting close, the darts were sort of catching the flights because there's not much giving them. So I put the AL style flights on, and I'm not even joking, I think these have been on here for about 2 minutes, and they were a bit flighty to start with compared to the K-Flex. They were a bit all over the place, but then once these had got settled down, after sort of three or four visits, it's gone straight in. Beautiful. So there we go then, guys. There's the hydro target, 1 of each, 01, 02 and 03 with the 180. Happy days. So there you have it then, guys, a 180 with 1 each of the hydro 01, 02 and 03. Wow, that was good fun. That was interesting to say the least. Now, the weights weren't massively different in these. There were only 1 or 2 grams difference between them, but what a difference the placement and style of the grip makes. It really does. And what I found was that you couldn't put them in your hand in any particular order. You had to just take them out and throw them as they came, so you had to kind of get used to them as a mixed set, if that makes sense, and just kind of feel the balance point and go from there. Yeah, I really found that quite tricky, actually. It was surprising how the grip really did affect the throw. Now, it sounds like an obvious statement, but for 3 darts of a similar barrel shape and size from the same range, you would think they'd be very similar to throw, but actually they really were not at all. So trying to tame them to get them to go in at, you know, the same kind of angle of attack and get the weight right without snatching and pulling them, that was good fun. Now, it was interesting because, you know, with that situation, you might get 2 of what you think might be the easier ones in, and then the pressure's on to try and get the last one. Or with the Hydro 01, which is the one that's really grippy for me and a bit too grippy, if I managed by chance to have that one in my hand first and score a treble 20, the pressure was really on to try and get the other ones. Now, I tried all sorts with it, actually. I tried some Condor flights, I tried some K-Flexes, yeah, and ultimately, well, basically I had a knock at the door. It was the weirdest thing, but I had a knock at the door, and I came back and thought, right, let's have a refresh, and I went and put some AL style dimple flights on, and you may have just seen in the video just there that within, I think it was about 1 minute and 20 seconds, maybe 1.5 minutes, I think 5 visits of coming back with those new flights on. there it was. It was incredible. I couldn't believe it. So it's got to be there's something to be said for the L style dimple flights, I think, and the stability that they give you, because it sort of took a lot of the variation, as it were, out of the barrel. So yeah, super cool. Anyway, I'm waffling on. I just can't believe I've managed it, to be fair. So I'm just really pleased. So thanks ever so much for watching. Please do like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. We've got some fun challenges and stuff coming up. I'm quite sure we'll be sharing our other darts on the channel. They're all our own darts, paid for with our own money, so whatever we do or say here isn't influenced by anybody else. Yeah, so thanks ever so much for watching. Really appreciate your time. I know you're all busy people, so thank you again, and I'll be back soon, so take care. All the best for now. Bye bye.